"Alas, I fear we cannot stay here longer," said Aragorn. He looked towards the mountains and held up his sword. "Farewell, Gandalf," he cried. "Did I not say to you, if you pass the doors of Moria, beware? Alas, that I spoke true. What hope have we without you?" He turned to the company. "We must do without hope," he said. "At least we may yet be avenged. Let us gird ourselves and weep no more. Come, we have a long road, and much to do." They rose and looked about them. Northward the dale ran up into a glen of shadows between two great arms of the mountains, above which three white peaks were shining. Celebdil, Thanawithal, Carathras, the mountains of Moria. At the head of the glen a torrent flowed like a white lace over an endless ladder of short falls, and a mist of foam hung in the air above the mountain's feet. "Yonder is the Dimrill stair," said Aragorn, pointing to the falls. "Down the deep cloven way that climbs beside the torrent we should have come, if fortune had been kinder." "O Carathras less cruel," said Gimli. "There he stands smiling in the sun." He shook his fist at the furthest of the snow-capped peaks and turned away. To the east the outflung arm of the mountains marched to a sudden end, and far lands could be descried beyond them, wide and vague. To the south the misty mountains receded endlessly as far as sight could reach. Less than a mile away, and a little below them, for they still stood high up on the west side of the dale, there lay a mere. It was long and oval, shaped like a great spearhead thrust deep into the northern glen, but its southern end was beyond the shadows under the sunlit sky. Yet its waters were dark, a deep blue like clear evening sky. Its face was still and unruffled. About it lay a smooth sward, shelving down on all sides to its bare, unbroken rim.
"There lies the Mirrormere, deep Kheled-zaram," said Gimli sadly. "I remember that he said, 'May you have joy of the sight,' but we cannot linger there. Now long shall I journey ere I have joy again. It is I that must hasten away, and he that must remain."
The company now went down the road from the gates. It was rough and broken, fading to a winding track between heather and wind that thrust amid the cracking stones. But still it could be seen that once long ago a great paved way had wound upwards from the lowlands of the dwarf kingdom. In places there were ruined works of stone beside the path, and mounds of green topped with slender birches or fir trees sighing in the wind. An eastern bend led them hard by the sward of Mirrormere, and there, not far from the roadside, stood a single column broken at the top.
"That is Durin's stone," cried Gimli. "I cannot pass without turning aside for a moment to look at the wonder of the dale."
"Be swift, then," said Aragorn, looking back towards the gates. "The sun sinks early. The orcs will not, maybe, come out till after dusk, but we must be far away before nightfall. The moon is almost spent, and it will be dark tonight."
"Come with me, Frodo,"
cried the dwarf, springing from the road.
"I would not have you go without seeing Kheled-zaram."
He ran down the long green slope. Frodo followed slowly, drawn by the still blue water in spite of hurt and weariness. Sam came up behind. Beside the standing stone, Gimli halted and looked up. It was cracked and weather-worn, and the faint runes upon its side could not be read.
"This pillar marks the spot where Durin first looked in the Mirrormere," said the dwarf. "Let us look ourselves once, ere we go."
They stooped over the dark water. At first they could see nothing. Then slowly they saw the forms of the encircling mountains mirrored in a profound blue, and the peaks were like plumes of white flame above them. Beyond there was a space of sky. There, like jewels sunk in the deep, shone glinting stars, though sunlight was in the sky above. Of their own stooping forms no shadow could be seen.
"O Kheled-zaram, fair and wonderful," said Gimli, "there lies the crown of Durin till he wakes. Farewell."
He bowed and turned away, and hastened back up the green sward to the road again. "What did you see?" said Pippin to Sam, but Sam was too deep in thought to answer. The road now turned